Hey guys, I'm here to do the reader problems tag, and this looked like a really fun tag, so I figured I would do it. Okay, number 1, you have 20,000 books on your TBR shelf. How in the world do you choose which one to read first? You know what's funny? I usually know what I want to read next whenever I'm reading a book, especially if it's a series. I never stop reading series just in the middle. I always complete them. I really don't like reading other books in between series because I feel like it takes away from the series. If there's more than one book for one story, why not just read all of the books for that story? And it drives me crazy when people want to read the middle book in a series or something. Like, how do you even do that? Especially now that I've joined BookTube and I have a tremendous amount of TBR books. I feel like I'm in a library whenever I'm in my room, so I can just pick one off the shelf that I feel like reading instead of going out to buy the one that I want to read next. It's just there already, so I can just pick it up. The only exception for the series thing is if the series is not completed or I have to read another book for school. I won't stop reading that series, but I mean, I'll have to read that book for school. Number 2 is you're halfway through a book and you are not loving it. Do you finish or do you just quit? I usually just commit to the book and finish it, even if it takes me forever. For example, I had already gotten the 2 first Darkest Minds books in the series, and I just did not like them despite the fact how much everybody else loved them. I just didn't care for them. So I was reading Never Fade and I just pushed myself to finish it just because I had already gotten them. They were going to lay on my shelf, so why not just finish it? I used to just quit reading books altogether if I didn't love it. Fun story behind that is when I picked this one up, I actually tried to read it once or twice and I couldn't get through like half of it. But then I was given the choice to read it for school, so I was like, oh, okay, I already have this book, I might as well pick it up and give it another try. And now it's become one of my favorite books of all time, so yeah. Number 3 is the end of the year is coming and you are so close yet so far away from your Goodreads challenge. Do you try and catch up, and how? I would probably try and catch up. I don't like to leave things unfinished, especially with goals that I've set for myself. So I would probably try and finish. I actually don't even have one of those Goodread goals for myself because I feel like it puts pressure on me to read more than I like to, more than I have to. I love to read, obviously, and I feel that if I were to put a goal on myself like that, it would pressure me to read and I wouldn't enjoy it, and it would just become it would become a chore, honestly. And I really don't want to stop enjoying books just because I feel pressure to read a lot of them. Number 4 is the covers of a series do not match. How do you cope? I think I would probably just keep that series in a corner of my bookshelf so they're not the center of what people look at when they look at my bookshelves. You know what's weird though? I think I get more frustrated if the size of the book doesn't match. Because if they don't match and they're the same size, at least you can keep them either vertically or horizontally on your bookshelf and they could at least be matching that way. But if they're not matching size-wise, you can't really tell by just quickly looking at the books that they're a series. For example, my first copy of Twilight was a pocketbook size that I bought at Vaughn's, and all the rest of my books were the tall, big, normal book size. So I would have this little munchkin of a pocketbook next to all my big, pretty Twilight books, and it just looked really weird. But a few months ago, I was like at a thrift bookshop and they had a whole section of all the Twilight books that nobody wanted. So I just picked up the first Twilight book so that it would match all the rest of them. Number 5, everyone and their mother loves a book that you just don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? Nobody that I know personally is in the BookTube community like I am. So anybody that I would know would be through BookTube. But I would probably just go on Tumblr and browse through the section of whatever book it is and see if anybody else feels the same way. Number 6, you are reading a book and you are about to cry in public. Do you hold it in or just let it all go? I would honestly just hold it in until I got home so that I could let all of my emotions come out. I don't like crying in front of people. Okay, this one's kind of long, so I'm just going to read it. Number 7 is a sequel of a book you love just came out, but you've forgotten a lot from the prior novel. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis on Goodreads? And I don't really reread books. I know this might be a shocker, but I like to find new stories rather than just reread a whole bunch of books. I mean, I definitely need to reread the Harry Potter books. I've only read the first one twice, and all the rest of them I haven't read since I was like 12. I mean, for example, when City of Heavenly Fire came out, I just went on Wikipedia and read the entire detailed plot summary of all the books before that. So yeah, I definitely would just read the plot summaries of the series before I read the next one. Number 8 is you do not want anyone to borrow your books. How do you politely tell them No. I would probably just outright say that I don't feel comfortable lending out my books to people. I have lent them out, but only to a couple of my friends who I know are going to take care of them. I already had a bad experience with lending out one of my books in middle school, and I got it back without a cover. I don't know if any of you guys feel the same way, but I would like to lend them out. I would love telling people to read this book, and if they want to read it, I'll be like, yeah, I have it, I'll let you borrow it. But while they have it, I have like anxiety that they are going to just ruin it or something, so I pester them about giving it back. And if I do lend out a book, I will tell them before they even start reading it that if they ruin it, that they will have to buy me a new one, because yeah. Number 9 is reading ADD. You've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? I'll honestly just stop reading until I feel like reading again, because it will turn into a chore if I make myself read, and it will just make me not enjoy the book that I'm reading. Unless it's for school, I don't force myself to read. Luckily, I want to read all the time, so I never really have really bad reading slumps. But if I ever do get into one, I will just not read until I feel like reading again. Number 10 is there are so many new books coming out that you are dying to read. How many do you actually buy? New books, I usually don't buy unless it's part of a series that I've been waiting to come out forever. For example, when Hollow City came out, I went to go buy the new expensive copy, and it's still sitting on my shelf. I haven't even read it yet. I do finally have The Young Elites by Marie Lu, because she's an amazing author. So this is probably the newest new book that I've gotten, because this series, amazing. I plan on reading this after I finish Gone Girl, so really looking forward to it. Number 11 is after you've bought the new books you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you actually get to them? And this depends on the book. For example, with Hollow City, I bought it and I still haven't read it. But with City of Heavenly Fire, I bought it within the week it came out, and I started reading it right away because City of Heavenly Fire. When I do read them as soon as I buy them, it's usually because it's part of a series and I've been waiting for this book to come out. So yeah, that was the reader problems tag. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!